Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Shanity Show. So, as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, this is my first reading vlog of the year. Now, I have 4 books, which I'll talk about in a moment, that I want to sort of focus on in this reading vlog, but I never do really hard TBR piles, as I refer to them. Basically what that is, I forgot to turn on my... There we go. I refer to them as hard TBR piles because those are the ones that like people make for themselves and then stick to them. So it's like they set, let's say, Fellowship, Two Towers, Return of the King, Apothecary Diaries, and Heaven Official's Blessing. Let's say they set those as their TBR for a specific month or 7 months. And they stick to that TBR pile like every single book. And then once they get through with that, they set another TBR pile. That's a hard TBR pile, when you stick for it book by book by book. Soft TBR pile, not necessarily something you have to stick to, but it's books you want to read within the span of whatever time frame. In this case, the video. So I do have 4. There are 2 that I do kind of want to read in this video, or at least get to within this video. Sorry, I keep pausing. I have to adjust some things, but I have 2 that I want to try to at least attempt in this reading vlog, and then the other 2, I know I'm going to get to them at some point, but I figured I'd include them just depending on how this reading vlog goes. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of things going on this month, and a lot of my videos have been posted and scheduled out in advance, and a lot of them I have done, and like a lot of the videos that I've done through February, since I have a lot of videos going up in February every day, those ones I've recorded through to, I recorded and scheduled those at the latest in mid-January. Again, there's just a lot of stuff going on, and by about mid-March, early April, you'll figure out what exactly is going on. I'm just not saying it right away because there's so much going on, and just I don't want to put it out there just yet. But yeah, so basically in this video I'm going to be focusing on the reading and then doing some other stuff that I have to do in relation to what's going on. Again, I just don't want to put it out there right now. I am on my bed by my window, so you might hear the helicopter that's going by. I just, my desk needs to be cleared off. I didn't feel like doing that right now, so it is what it is. Was that a helicopter? I think it was. Anyway, so right now at least it is literally January 1st. It's the new year. It's 2026, which is the weirdest fucking thing. And these are the books that I would like to get to in this reading vlog. I'm going to mention the 2 that I want to get to specifically within this video first, and then the other 2, the last 2, it's 4. The other 2, if I get to them in this video, great. If I don't, also great. So the first book is one I have officially been reading since 2025. I think I started it mid to late December 2025. So that is Parable of the Sower. I threw a V in there because of the author's name. Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. And this one is featuring a new foreword by acclaimed actor and author LeVar Burton. I'd like to read some of his books. I'd have to look into that. Because I love him as Jordy, and then obviously Reading Rainbow, like, obviously. But I started this mid-February. I think I got like a chapter 2 in, and also too with the January Pages challenge going on, I do kind of want to actively read more, and I'll get back to this in a second, but part of the reason why I'm also doing this reading vlog is so that I can participate in the January Pages challenge on the StoryGraph app, because I have not had the best balance between my two main hobbies, crocheting and then reading. So I kind of want to balance that out a little bit better. I'm officially working on 2 crochet projects. One of which is an Afghan, which I'm going to be posting videos about at some point this year. I'm not sure when. It's from Annie's Attic, and I did, as a Christmas present, I got the weekly or like monthly or whatever, every 4 weeks or whatever it is, subscription thing. And so that's going to be going on, and it comes in like blocks. So there's that, and I'm currently in block 1, and my plan is just to do 1 video per block, 1 video per section for that. And I'm not going to schedule and post those videos until I have all of them done, just because I don't know when they're going to go up, so I don't want to like schedule and then reschedule, and I don't want it to be broken up. So those videos are going to go up both here, and I don't know how I introduced this video, but yeah, I also did like the renaming to the Shanada stuff. I think I said welcome back to the channel, but I have no freaking idea. There's so much going on. But the Annie's Attic Afghan, it's Irish Fields, Gainsey Irish Fields one, that will be going up. I don't know when, because I'm only in part 1. But again, like, I'm not gonna know when until a little bit later in that project. So yeah, so there's that. And I'm also working on another blanket, a personalized granny square blanket that I have a pattern for on my Etsy, which my Etsy is usually linked down below in the description, so I'm not gonna worry about relinking anything just right now for the sake of simplicity. So to get back to this, so Parable of the Sower, I was thinking about getting the second book at Barnes & Noble when I went, I think it was like the last week of December. Again, there's so much going on, but I decided to hold off again on getting the second book, just because I figure I'm gonna like this, but at the same time I don't want to get the second book and then not like this and have to wonder what the fuck I'm gonna do with it, because I don't want, going into 2026, what I am doing is I'm not going to pressure myself to continue something that I'm not enjoying, and that includes book series, and that includes 1 books and 2 book series. So because like there's, like I've said quite a few times at this point within 8 minutes, there's so much going on, and I don't want to spend too much time focusing, like I don't want to spend too much time doing something that I'm not enjoying, reading something I'm not enjoying, when I could be spending that energy elsewhere into something I am enjoying. And even if it's not necessarily something I'm enjoying, like I could be spending the energy elsewhere where it would be most beneficial. So that's why I held off on buying the second book. But in this first book, I think I've talked about it before, but to give the description, when global climate change and economic crises lead to social chaos in the early 2020s, California becomes full of dangers, from pervasive water shortage to massive vagabonds who will do anything to live to see another day. 15-year-old Lauren Olamina lives inside a gated community with her preacher father, family, and neighbors, sheltered from the surrounding anarchy. Sorry, I had to sneeze. From the surrounding anarchy, in a society where any vulnerability is a risk, she suffers from hyper empathy, a debilitating sensitivity to others' emotions. So I did just borrow this from the Libby app as an audiobook, just to make it a little bit easier, because there's a couple things I want to do, and at this point I just need to finish this. So that's going to be this one. And then to go on to the other 3 books. Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. Now, this is usually not my go-to genre, like when it's romance specifically. My intent with this one is just to read it and see how it goes, because I have no intent to like actually finish this because I know that there's a high chance that I'm not going to enjoy this as much. Nothing against Sally Hazelwood. I know romance isn't my thing. Especially when it's the main genre. I've talked about it before, so I'm not gonna rehash that horse right now. But Deep End, we'll see if I like this. If anything, my friend gifted this to me for my birthday, and she like said like, I know this isn't your usual thing, but I already have a copy and I've gifted the copies to other people, and I figured you could use it or sell it or re-gift it yourself, so I'm not gonna be offended either way. And we've done that like a few times with each other, where it's like we'll gift each other like a book or something, and like, look, I thought you might like this, but if you don't, I'm not going to be offended if you re-gift it, sell it, or just give it away. So I'm going to try this. This is the other one where it's like priority. I'm not going to be surprised if I DNF this, because I might hate read it, I might not read it, I might finish it. We'll see. We'll see how it all goes. And then the other two books that are not as much of a priority. The first one is A Fellowship of Bakers and Magic. I got this as a birthday present last year, and from my sister. And I got the other two of the other books. I think it's A Fellowship of Librarians and Dragons, and then I'm blanking on what the other one is. But I got two of the other books of the series at Barnes & Noble on my last little trip to Barnes & Noble. And just because I have a very good feeling about this series, and I've been seeing it everywhere, and it's kind of funny because whenever I've seen this, the marketing changes for it. It's like, it'll say it's like Lord of the Rings meets Great British Bake Off, or Princess Diaries meets, Princess Bride meets Great British Bake Off, or it'll change like every single time of something that I do like meets Great British Bake Off. So it's like, okay, what is it? The title obviously kind of makes you think Lord of the Rings Fellowship, but we'll see how it is. Again, this one isn't a priority because I'm gonna hold on to it, and I'll most likely like this one. And then, speaking of Middle Earth, the other book is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This one's J. Penner, and I didn't give you the description for Deep End. Scarlett Vandermeer is swimming upstream, a junior at Stanford and a student athlete who specializes in platform diving. Scarlett prefers to keep her head down, concentrating on getting into med school, on recovering from the injury that almost ended her career. She has no time for relationships, at least that's what she tells herself. Swim captain, world champion, and all-around aquatics golden boy, Lucas Bloomquist thrives on discipline. It's how he wins gold medals and breaks records. Complete focus with every stroke. On the surface, Lucas and Scarlett have nothing in common, until a well-guarded secret slips out and everything changes. So they start an arrangement, and as the pressure leading to the Olympics heats up, so does their relationship. It was supposed to be just a temporary, mutually satisfying flame. But when staying away from Lucas becomes impossible, Scarlett realizes that her heart might just be treading into dangerous water. So that's this one. The premise sounds interesting, it sounds promising, but it's like, I mean, like, there are definitely some romance tropes that I hate more than fake dating, but it's like, or like fake relationship type deal, but it's like, I'm not super fond of most of the romance tropes. And again, unless it's in a movie I grew up on. So anyway, to give the description of Fellowship of Bakers, because I'm trying to be better about that, still working on it. She doesn't need to have magic in order to be magic. In the heart of Ardenshire, in the heart of Adenishire, where elvish enchantments and dwarven delights rule, human baker Arletta Starstone works twice as hard at perfecting her unique blend of baking with apothecary herbs. So when her orc neighbor and biggest fan secretly enters her creation into the prestigious Langheim baking battle, Arletta faces a dilemma. Being magicless, her participation in the competition could draw more scowls and smiles. And if Arletta wants to prove her talents and establish her culinary reputation, she needs more than just her pastry craft to sweeten the odds. Though Arletta may not yet believe in herself, she makes her way to Langheim with the help of a very attractive woodland elf and competes. While on a journey of mouth-watering pastry, self-discovery, heartwarming friendships, and potential romance, Arletta will have to decide whether winning the baking battle is the true prize after all. But win or lose, her adventure is only beginning. So this definitely sounds like somewhat of a cozy fantasy with like low stakes, because that's usually what cozy fantasy is. Maybe like mid-tier stakes at most. So again, this one, I probably will like it. And then, like I was starting to mention, The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I am hoping to start my reread soon for 2026, and I'm hoping to get through my reread for 2026 for The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and maybe even The Silmarillion, and popping in a couple of other books in there as well. But with The Hobbit, I've talked about it before on my channel, but you're following the Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, who ends up going on an adventure with Thorin Oakenshield and his company, and just helping them reclaim their homeland. So that one's this. Again, this one isn't much of a priority right now. I am hoping to start it soon so I can get my reread going with Middle-earth, but again, we'll just see how things go. So I'm probably going to pop on the audiobook for Parable of the Sower and go from there, because I do have a couple things I want to try doing, and I'm probably going to listen to this while that happens. So I'm going to pop this on and I'll see where I get with audiobooks. When I'm reading a physical book, I'm usually not as particular with ending at the end of a chapter. Usually I don't care, as long as it's like, as long as I'm at like a clear differentiation, like let's say page 40 to 49. At the top of 49, it's Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. Oh, Jesus Christ. So there's that clear distinction between the two pages, and it's not like mid-paragraph, it's not mid-sentence. So it's kind of like that, where when I'm reading a physical book, I'm not super stringent on finishing a specific chapter before I set a book down. With audiobooks though, I am a little bit more particular about that, just because it's like, I'd rather finish the chapter before pausing the audiobook. Again, like, it's one of those situations where it's like, if needs must, I will pause it mid chapter, but I prefer not to. But like I said, if needs must, I will. So I will come back to you when I have an update, and we'll just go from there. And this is going to be a very relaxed reading vlog, because that's kind of what I need it to be right now. Okay, so a couple of updates. To start off with Deep End, I did read, is it the prologue? Yeah, I did read the prologue, and then chapter 1. And I think I got a little bit into chapter 2, but not that far into it. I stopped somewhere between pages 9 and 15 roughly, which was chapter 2, I think. Yeah. And the chapters are on the shorter side, so it might have just been that and not giving myself enough time. But at the same time, it's like, for romance, for books that are like largely romance, where that's the main plot, I really needed to hook me from the beginning, which this did not. So in this year, I don't know if I mentioned it, but this year I'm really trying to focus on books that I'm enjoying right from the get-go, or books that I have a good feeling that I'll enjoy, and I'm trying to not read books that I'm not getting into. So this is falling to the wayside. Again, like, I can see, like, I did skim through other parts of it, and I can understand why people like it, but it's not for me. I didn't even count this as like currently reading, because I did not get that far into it, and I just decided, like, hey, I'm gonna pick it up, try it, see if I like it, and if not, no big deal. And if I was liking it, then I would have marked it as currently reading, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna see if my sister wants it. And if anything, I'll give it away, donate to the library, or put it in a free little library. So that's what this one is. And then for Parable of the Sower, I actually need to update the progress because I read chapter 3. Okay. So I've read the first 3 chapters. I'm on page 31 at chapter 4. So for Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler, I'm not disliking it, but I'm not like loving it either. Right now I'm just kind of neutral about this. So I'm gonna continue with this. I have been focusing a little bit more on the audiobook because it's easier to do stuff while listening to an audiobook, do chores and stuff. But as of right now, I'm going to just keep pushing through and see what I think. And I kind of did want to buy the second book, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because again, I'm not disliking this by any means, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm not loving it either. And because I'm not loving it yet, again, I'm only like 3 chapters in. I'm about to start chapter 4, so it's like I still need to give this some time. But because I'm not loving it yet, like, you know, sometimes you know, even like right from the start, sometimes you know you're gonna enjoy a book. Right now, I do not know. So yeah, I am further in this one than I am with this one, but like I just said, sometimes you just know. And with this one, with Deep End, I know that I'm most likely not gonna enjoy this book. With this one right now, I don't know one way or another, so that's why I'm gonna continue with this one and just see where we get. And we're gonna go from there. We're gonna have a good time. Again, it's gonna be very chill. And what were the other 2 books that I was... There's 2 other books that I was talking about reading. I know it was The Hobbit. Oh, Fellowship of Bakers and Magic. So I'm not gonna start any other books right now just because I just want to focus on one at a time. And I'm still trying to figure out a good balance between crocheting and reading and figuring out what to do when. So yeah, we're just gonna go for it. I'm not gonna add any new books to my currently reading pile, just so I can, 1, focus on that singular book, and then 2, like I said, figure out what would be a good time to do which hobby. I am trying not to be watching stuff on my computer as much, like trying to take some time to just read. So there's that, and that seems to be helping, but again, it's just figure out timings and stuff. So once I have that figured out, I'll let you know, but I may never figure it out. So that's this update. I'm not that far into what I'm thinking, maybe like 5% of the way through. I'm not sure, but we'll see how this goes, and I'll let you know. Okay, so I was just at the Del Toro Frankenstein exhibit here in LA. That video, I do have a video for it, but it's not going up until October, maybe like the second week of October. Like my social battery was like super drained and I was getting a little bit headachy, so I'm now in the car. My sister's doing a couple of sketches, and we're gonna head to the Barnes & Noble at the Grove and have a little bite to eat there. And I got this tote bag, Frankenstein Only Monsters Play God, Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus by Mary Shelley. And basically, I'll give my basic review here, but again, the actual videos for it, where I give my review for it and going to this event, that's going to be going up in October as like a Throwback Thursday video. But basically, I really enjoyed Frankenstein. I wish he got his happy ending, but at the same time, like, I wasn't expecting one because 1, it's not romance, and 2, it's Del Toro, so it's not going to be like a happy ending. It's wrapped up nicely, which I appreciated. So yeah, once my sister's done, she's probably gonna try to be back in the car in the 30 minutes. But we were a bit over the time, like 15 minutes over the time, roughly. So like we were pushing it a little bit because we were talking to one of the staff members who was saying that we try to give people 30 to 45 minutes, and it's based off of like wristband color. We were pushing it, so my sister's pushing it, but she wanted to do some sketches, which is fine. My social battery's just drained, and I don't like inconveniencing staff, so I was stressing out a little bit, but I think it was just because like I was getting a little overstimulated in there, and I'm a little bit headachy right now, but we're good. But I think that's just because I'm a little bit headachy and I'm hungry. So yeah, we're gonna go to the Barnes & Noble at the Grove, like I said. Gonna go to the cafe first and then have a bite to eat, grab a coffee. But yeah, I was getting a little emotional in there. Like I wasn't gonna cry, but I felt like I wanted to cry in like a good way. And not because I was like there, but because of the movie. Like I really liked the movie. And also, funnily enough, I didn't get a video of it just because he was driving by, but Del Toro did drive by and was waving to people. And my thoughts, like, so he was in the backseat of his car and he's like waving from the back seat, and I was like, who is this random guy just out of the backseat like waving? Like, who does he think he is? That was basically like the basics of my thought process, and partly too because like the sunlight was like glaring off of some of the cars in the building, so it's like a little bit glary. And then I was like, oh, that's Del Toro, and I was like, oh, hi. So yeah, that was a fun little highlight of the day too. That was my first time seeing Del Toro, so probably gonna be the only time, but that was nice. So yeah, I'll take you to Barnes & Noble with me. I'm probably not gonna get anything, and plus too, I have a book that arrived today, which I'll open up once I'm home. But yeah, I'm gonna take you to Barnes & Noble with me. Again, I'm probably not gonna get anything. I might get one or two things. I might try to get like $20 to $30 worth of stuff just to boost my rewards up to another 10 stamps, so I can get another $5 reward. Because I'm at 8 stamps right now. But like I said, I'll take you all with me, so see you in a minute. Or you'll see Barnes & Noble in a minute, and then you'll see me in like 2 minutes. Also, while I'm thinking about it, I wanted to give a review for Parable the Sewer, because I finished it and then I just kept forgetting to record my update. So I gave it like a 3.75 out of 5 stars, just because I do really appreciate the story matter and the plot and the characters. It's just dystopian, just isn't my usual genre, so it's like it didn't wow me or anything, but I did really appreciate the story and the plot points and the characters, like I said. And I've started a fellowship of bakers and magic, or whatever it's called. I've started that. So far I'm liking it. I'm not that far in, but so far I am liking it. And then yeah, that's my update. I just didn't want to forget to do it again. So I'm back home, all comfy. I'm keeping my makeup on because I don't feel like taking it off right now. But I'm going to show you what I got from Barnes & Noble. But before I show you what I got in person, I'm going to show you what I just got in the mail. And I hate when this happens. It like pulls off like a little bit. It starts to pull off and then it just, then I have to like dig my fingers in there. I guess I could use scissors, but I'm being stubborn right now. Or not. Be safe with scissors, guys. Maybe that didn't super duper help. Oh, now it works from this side. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's a lot thicker than I imagined it would be. Well, I guess the hardback is kind of thick. So I got the paperback for The Disappearance of Ashton Picard, and now she is going to go onto my bookshelf. I'll find a good enough spot for her in a little bit. Just because I have all of other Natasha Lister's books in the paperback form, so I'm just like, I kind of just want it to match, and they're all roughly the same height, so it's like they can be in all roughly the same spot as well. So I got that. Okay, so first I'm going to show you the bookmarks. I got, just as like the twist. This feels kind of stupid. Ooh. This is such a stupid thing to do. Twist to remove. Can I cut this? 1 second. Okay, so that took me like a hot minute, but it was basically like a screw thing, which I think was unnecessary. Just because, like, if they're gonna do this, so it's like a little screw thing. Ooh, damn it, lost one. Little screw thing. If they're gonna do that, they need to have the part that you're unscrewing easier to grab and unscrew. Oh boy, okay. So, this was the bookmark I got. My colors and bees. I love my bees. And then I got, I'm not taking this one out. I got this bookmark for my friend. I'm already building up birthday presents for her, and it's kind of bad because her birthday's not until August. So, speaking of my friend's birthday, I'm gonna take the sticker off. Please come off smoothly. Or not. Or not. You can be difficult. I don't want you to be difficult. I'm tired. And after, I think I mentioned this earlier, but I got into the car after the Del Toro event because I was a little bit overstimulated. And I'm not overstimulated anymore. I'm settled down, but it's like, you know, when you're overstimulated, you get tired, and then it's like, even when you're not overstimulated, like the tiredness from being overstimulated is still there. Almost so close. Okay. So I'm feeling the post-overstimulation tired. So, let's fully get this sticker off. Oh boy. This is taking me a minute, sadly. Because sometimes it comes off perfectly nicely and all good, and then other times it doesn't. Which sucks, because especially for the times that it does come off perfectly, because then you're like, why don't you do this all the time? Why don't you get off perfectly all the time? So, anyway, this was the other birthday present I got for my friend. I'm not sure if she's a big puzzle person. These are like, these are like crosswords, sort of like letter Sudokus, another little Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen inspired puzzles. I'm not sure if she's into these kind of puzzles, but I figured Pride and Prejudice works good enough for her. So that is part of what I got. And then, for what I got for myself, the Bee bookmark, volume 4 of Delicious in Dungeon. Okay, I'm glad I remembered I only had up to 3. And then I got books 1 and 2 of part 2 of Magic Knight Earth. So this is part 2, book 1, part 2, book 2. And they didn't have, it was weird because they had part 1 book 2 and part 1 book 3, and then they had part 2 book 1 and part 2 book 2, but they didn't have part 1 book 1 and they didn't have part 2 book 3, so I just figured get these while I can get them because they haven't been at my usual Barnes & Noble, the Calabasas Commons. So there's these 2, and then that one, and then my Natasha Lester book, so I just have to figure out good places on my shelf for this, and then we should be good from there. So, oh, I also forgot to mention that I'm also listening to an audiobook. It's Lula Dean's, let me see, I have it in Lula Dean's Little Library of Banned Books by Kristen Miller. So I'm listening to that as an audiobook through Libby. So to give the description, a satirical novel about a small town in Georgia where a local woman, Lula Dean, tries to ban inappropriate books from the public library, but a secret prankster replaces them with banned literature, leading to unexpected changes and a showdown over censorship. So that's why part of the reason I'm reading this is because of the whole censorship topic and the fact that people feel the need to ban books of all things. And considering that usually leads to fascism, and considering that our current government is trying to ban books. So, yeah. Read what you can when you can, guys. And it's why we read a lot of these books in high school. This is why. So, that is all for this update, and I will get back to you once I have another update for you. Okay, so I was thinking of letting this reading blog last a little bit longer, but it's so much going on, and you know, that's what happens, and I was hoping for this reading blog to be like a little bit of peace during this time, which it has been. It's just, again, it's one of those things where there's so much going on that it's like, this is a little bit of peace, but at the same time it's not. It's both. So I'm gonna end this reading vlog here just to give one final update. I am 45, yeah, page 45 in this. I'm about 16% of the way through it. I'm really enjoying it so far and really liking it. I haven't really I've gotten to the part where she's received the invitation to go to the baking competition, and they're about to start heading over. They have started heading over, so that's kind of roughly where I'm at with this. And I think I had mentioned this, or I don't know if I didn't mention it here, but I think this is like the last little part of the last little haul of 2025. But I did get books 2 and 3. This cover throws me the fuck off, because it's like, it's just like, it's such a bright blue and then yellow, and then you have like a snowman and a Christmas tree, like a snowman. It's like on a bright blue, where it's like if it was a darker blue and then like silver or like gray, fine. It's just like the bright blue and the yellow, that's what's throwing me off. It gives me more summer vibes. So got books 2 and 3. I'm glad I did, and I'll probably try to continue this series once I'm done with book 1, just to kind of keep it going until I finish the 3 books that I have. But that's the updates for A Fellowship of Bakers and Magic. Again, about 16% of the way through, enjoying it. And like I said, this is going to be the end of the reading vlog. If you've read any of the books that I've mentioned in this video and have enjoyed them, let me know down below in the comments. And I'll see you all in my next video.